Yes, yes. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the wonderful Williamsburg Art and Historical Center in the trendiest city in the world, Brooklyn. And today we have an exceptional show of women artists celebrating Women's History Month. And I'm just going to quickly introduce Yuko Nii, wherever she is. Yuko, please come forward. She's the founder and executive director of the Williamsburg Art and Historical Center, and she's the founder and executive director of the Yuko Nii Foundation. Yuko, please come forward. Here is the brilliant lady. She curated this wonderful show. Here she is.
Hello? So everybody, can you hear me? Yes, now it's okay. Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you very much for coming over on March 5th, Saturday, 2022. It is a very memorable day for me and for those who are here. The reason why this March is a month of women history, and we like to have men and women as well. We do. It takes two, men and women, and the middle, everybody else, to join as a uniformed family. So the Mars Center's mission is peace. Wa means peace, harmony, and unity. Wa means in Japanese peace, harmony, unity. So we have to, at this moment, political climate and divisions are separated, unfortunately, but at the Mars Center, we were united with one spirit. And okay, today I'd like to appreciate especially those who loan us. Donald, Don, please come. Don Fletcher. Okay, he's so tall, right? But that is good. We need two different height, different size. So one is tall person, I am very short. Okay, but good things comes in a small package. Okay, so he is not too good. Okay. Anyhow, so Mr. Donald Fletcher was the one who loaned us kindly. And then he was a student of Princeton University many years ago. And my dear friend and mentor, Toshiko Takaezu, was the one who created beautiful ceramics, stoneware, she called it. Yes. And so Toshiko Takaezu, she's a Hawaiian American, and Don was a student of Toshiko many years ago.
Many years ago.
Mm-hmm, many years ago. So we have 20, well, Toshiko had disciples. Every year she chooses one disciple, and then they can stay, they create ceramics. And he was one of them, Don.
No, I was only a student.
Yeah,
I never had the moral strength to be an apprentice. I was just a hanger-on, but it was a great privilege.
So he was not an artist, he said. Well, he was not the disciple. But we had 20 disciples show. That was really beautiful. 5 years ago, and memory of Toshiko Takaezu. And Mr. Donald Fletcher is the Toshiko Takaezu Foundation's head of the foundation. So just like we have Yukoni Foundation, and Toshiko Takaezu, she passed away, but she founded the foundation. So Mr. Fletcher is the shall I say, chair.
I'm the elderly uncle of the foundation.
Yeah. Okay. So I'd like to introduce you, and he can say something about you and then Toshiko, because I am so grateful to have Aunt. I used to call Aunt Toshiko Takaezu. I have two aunts. One is right there too. I'd like to introduce. But okay, Don, would you like to?
Well, I'd just like to thank Yuko for this fantastic event and for all the work she's done over the years. Toshiko had the highest regard for her, and Toshiko was also a dynamo in a small package. Nobody could work harder than she, and nobody could think harder than she, and nobody cooked better than she did, and nobody worked harder in the garden than she did. So she was a huge inspiration to a long lineage of students, and we miss her dearly, but we're extremely glad to be able to have these pieces in this wonderful show.
Thank you very much. And Toshiko donated this beautiful anagama. That's the title of this piece. And she said, Yuko, come over to my studio and you can choose something. But I have been so busy in Brooklyn, I couldn't get to New Jersey. So she passed away. So when someone offers something, you have to go right away. That's the only way you can get your beautiful piece. Look at those wonderful things. And she is very famous. She makes painterly techniques. I mean, design is painterly on the stoneware. And then sculpturesque as well. So she has a fine art. She's not only ceramist, but she is combined with fine art. And you can see she's from Hawaii. I suppose, that's my imagination, what is this?
I forgot to say one thing, and that is that she's being featured, Toshiko is being featured in the Venice Biennale this year. So we have 8 pieces that will be at the Arsenal, and the main exhibit, which is called The Milk of Dreams, curated by Cecilia Alemani, who is the curator of the High Line here. So it's a great women's event in April. So come to Venice this summer.
Well, I'd like to, could you get me my Mentor and Friends catalog? And also, when we had our first Women Forward #1, that was 2009, and Toshiko was one of them. I choose 3 women, and one is a white woman, Judy Chicago, and the other one is a black woman, Faith Ringgold. Everybody's known, so you must know. Faith Ringgold. This is her piece, Passion. And the third one is Oriental or Asian Americans. That is Toshiko. Harabi. Samia, I put Toshiko Takaezu was one of my aunt, and Samya is another one. Samya, could you please tell me how we met?
There was a wonderful young artist of British Iranian heritage or descent who came to meet you, Yuko, and she kept talking and talking and talking how wonderful you were. I couldn't, she just pushed and pushed. I said, okay, I'm gonna believe you. I came to meet you.
Well, I didn't know that, but is that Catherine?
Excuse me?
Her name was Catherine.
Susan Beck.
Oh, Susan Beck. Oh, yeah, okay. So, Samia Halabi is a Palestinian, and her paintings are here 1, 2, 3, 4. She taught many years at Yale University, and when I met her, at that time, at 1950s or 60s, you are the first women who did hard edge, remarkable. Oh, you know what? We have a television. You have an interview. We have totally forgot. And then she was interviewed by a young man. So she talks about how it was then, being a woman, teaching at Yale University. Can you imagine? It must have been so difficult.
Now, if anyone tells me I want to send my children to Yale, they've got to be my enemy before I tell them don't do it. That's the worst place on earth to send your children. During my tenure there, 5 students in the art school committed suicide. That's my recommendation on Yale.
Thank you so much, my goodness. So, she was one of the quite a few women, powerful women artists, kept going, kept painting, kept creating. They are the ones who opened the tight door of the men's club. Thank you very much.
So there was a group of us who wanted to exhibit Palestinian art. And we came to Yuko and we asked if we could have the space. And of course, there were fees to be paid, which we paid, and we worked very hard and we made a catalog, and it was a great show. And we had 800 people show up for the opening, which was beyond our expectations. So I still have catalogs left I should bring to you, Yuko. But my memory from that time was how I got the artwork. At the time, what was the date? I don't remember, but the US government was attacking Iraq at the time, and no artist wanted to loan anything or have anything to do with the USA. So I exchanged artwork with them in order to get them to give me something. And I remember I had a huge roll of drawings and paintings, and I was going from place to place in the West Bank, and there was a time I had to cross a checkpoint, and they closed the checkpoint and they closed the exit, so there were about 200 people squeezed between barbed wire, and it was getting very dangerous and very crowded, and I was hugging the artwork, and there were little children that were in danger of being stepped on by the crowd, by the terrorism and the torture that the Israelis impose on us on a daily basis. So the society being a very tight-knit, family-oriented society, strangers began picking up the children on their shoulders. I will never forget that moment in my life, how everybody seemed to be together and figure out a way to survive this torture. But we had a great show here. And thank you, Yuko, for being here.
Thank you very much. So we are the first, Samia, didn't you say? We are the first who Palestinian artists participated. afterwards, Texas, they pick you up.
Yes, this was a historical show for being a first. It was the first all-Palestinian artist show. After us, the Station Museum in Houston, Texas, and I helped them organize the show. I took them to Palestine and to Damascus and to Gaza, which was open at the time, and they organized a show which was called Made in Palestine, and it was a fabulous success in Houston, Texas, and they had 1,500 people. And the most memorable moment of that exhibition was the art car people. He was the director of the Station Museum, had been director of the Corcoran Gallery. And then he was attracted to be hired at the MoMA here in New York, or over there far away as some people on the other side, in Manhattan, to be director of the MoMA. But somehow or the other, they didn't like his politics, and after they hired him, they dropped it. And he was very upset, and he sued them. And by suing in the artwork, you become very unimportant and sidelined. So he went to Texas, opened the Art Car Museum, and the Art Car Museum are people who decorate their cars not for the New York art world, but because they love it. And so they showed up to our opening big time. And so the street outside was lined with art car people, cars that danced and had neon light and everything. And they were so wonderful and invited us to go join them in their art cars. It was a homage to our show. So thank you, Yuko, for giving us the first.
Thank you. I thank her very much. Now, we have honorable two people, and then I'd like to introduce 11 women artists. Those 11 people, women artists, were the ones who curated the shows here. And they picked their own themes, or I asked them to curate the theme that I wanted to see how they do. They did a wonderful job, and they brought so many new artists and new audiences. So they opened the door for the War Center. I really appreciated that. So this show, 11 women artists, are the ones who help us grow. That's part Women Forward Part 3. Those who help us grow. What am I talking about? Thank you very much. I'd like you to come over. 11 artists, please. Mr. Ron, Meko-chan, Mary. Okay. Here it is. Some people, they are not here. Unfortunately, they told us they have a family plans. Okay, so Samia Halabi from Palestine. Oh, here you go. And, excuse me. So, Ellie in the black overcoat. Ellie Wingberg, she has back there orange, green, blue, and white. What can I say? The material, you can.
It's handmade paper done in a mixed media style.
It is. You can see the beautiful pieces are over there. She helped curate the show. And Susan Jacobs in the middle with eyeglasses. So Susan, I wonder why you have a one-man show in a small gallery. Didn't she bring your things and occupied all by yourself? Well, she deserved that. Beautiful photographer. What she does, may I explain to what she does is she's a photographer, and then she takes photographs, but it's not the landscape painting, landscapes or flowers, but she captures something which we overlook to see. So it's very abstract. You don't know what we are looking at. And she explained to me, this is how I saw, the bottom of the corner. And that, or anything, it's very, very mysterious. And that is Susan Jacobs, photographer. Remarkable woman. Thank you. Okay, next one is Linda Smith. Linda Smith is right here. All 4 waters, we need water, don't we? Water is getting so dirty, and water is getting to be very expensive. So some part of the world, we don't have enough water. And this, excuse me, we had a lockdown period ever since the world is getting very upside down. But water, thank you very much. Linda Smith, look at this painting. And then Mother Nature bringing beautiful birds on the beach. So would you like to say something?
Yeah, that painting, here's my muse. This lady is my muse here. Somehow there's a little resemblance, so I could use myself too. But she really represents my mother, who loved birds and would speak to them as they visited our little backyard where she was feeding them. And she knew the calls, and she would sing to them, and she would get angry when the starling came and tell him he didn't belong, he was from someplace else, because he was eating too much. But she was a healer, my mother, and I saw her one day, I would have these visions, and I saw her in a white uniform. She was a nurse, and she was on a beach where she often took us, and she was surrounded by all the birds she loved. And that's where the idea came, but I couldn't have done it without the help of this lady and the support of that man, who sometimes cooks for me. And thank you, Yuko, for seeing that and for letting me show the painting. I appreciate that. I like them to be seen.
It's wonderful to hear our explanation of concept behind it. Thank you very much, Linda. Everybody can talk about your work. They are very, very good communicators. Next one is Mary Wessling. Mary is remarkable. She's a great cook. And then we have Wa Salon Art Club. And this is a club members, about 65 people consist of the members. So every January, we used to have Wa Salon show. And this year is going to be 23rd. She was the first one who came from Long Island. Originally, she's from Wisconsin, but she came. And someone told me, if you have any problem, you can ask Mary Wessling. That was the first time, because we used to have so many buses coming over to visit us way back. Since 1996, I founded. So this area used to be very dangerous. But people from Connecticut, Long Island, New Jersey, they used to come with a big bus bringing audience. So one of them was the organizer. So she said, if you need any help, I want you to meet Mary Wessling. She just moved in Williamsburg. So ever since, I just grabbed her. And then I always know something great, some people. So she was the one who organized Wa Salon dinner. That was wonderful, wasn't it? Thank you very much. And So she is a mother feeder, and we were fed. Thank you. And she made us grow. You see, I was very small, but I'm getting taller. Thank you. Okay. Then- Yes, excuse me, Mary's paintings or artworks. She's an excellent etcher or printer. And then three drawings on the top, and 3 vegetables, and mushroom, cabbage, and squash. Those are the etchings. Can you imagine how brilliant, great they look? Okay, so that's her work. Next one is Mieko Mitachi. She is from Japan, from Tokyo, Japan. Her work is like their brain. She's obsessed with brain. One is like written. You see, human beings, we are losing capacity to think, and she is trying to preserve. Maybe, may I interpret? So this is Mieko Mitachi, and would you like to say something?
Well, thank you very much, Yuko-san. We have this kind of a show. It's Women Forward. It's very important things that you started for this Women Forward. This was 4 years ago or 5 years ago. Yeah, I was in the second. That little by little, that the women forward to the world.
Women forward.
Yeah.
Moving forward.
So then, I'm thank you very much for you started this. Thank you.
So AI generation is coming, and then human beings will lose emotion. AI can do anything. We are a little bit fearful about what will happen. AI take, artificial intelligence take over functionable part. Who knows? But this is what we are having. So brain, very important to think, to remember, to improve this society. If we use brain in a right way, we can improve. If we misuse it, the destruction of the universe, that is very fearful. Thank you for Brain Maker. Also, she is not only three-dimensional artist, but look at this, she has a print yellow one. She is multi-talented, two-dimensional, three-dimensional. So brain can do that. She must have a big brain. I would like to borrow it. Can I? Okay. Next one is Kiriko Shirobayashi. Kiriko-san's work is very, very delicate. Over there, near between the two windows. And then she's also book artist. And would you like to say, very simple but very refined work. Kiriko-san was curated for we had a Japanese Horizon show. So she curated, gathering all the Japanese artists, and then we had a show here. Okay, would you like to say something?
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you. I know Yuko-san for almost probably over 20 years since I came here to United States. First time when I met her was, I think it was a fashion show and the filmmaking film festival at the time, and I was a little bit doing a film, so the video, so I was helping her to shoot video pieces for this World Center. Then after that, And then when I was asked her, I was asked by her this time for the show to bring my work. I decided to take this one because I think this work was I made 20 years ago at the time when I met you. So I thought it was a proper pieces to have here. So I've been given to have an opportunity to curate a show here. I think it was 2 years ago, before the COVID, and it was a great experience for me. Not making my work only, but thinking about somebody's work as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The book art has been getting to be very, very popular. And every year in March, they have MoMA's PS1. They have a big book art show. Did you have it this year?
This year we had another in Miami. So we brought a couple of people from Japan, Japanese people live in Japan, and also Japanese people live in New York City. It was a quite good experience.
Thank you. So next one is Sonomi Kobayashi, and she is also a Japanese artist. And she is another artist who curated Japanese Horizon show. Why Horizon? Because, well, Japanese artists, they are well trained, but someone who can bring new pieces, and then surprise it. Beyond Horizon, something is going on. That's the title of the show. So Sonomi Kobayashi's work is right there. So it is alcohol. Okay. She can explain to you. Yeah, much better. Okay.
Thank you so much, Yuko-san, for having me. I'm so honored to be part of this show with this great women artist. Thank you. I met Yuko-san about, 10 years ago maybe? I've been having shows almost every year since then, and it's been great. And also she said that it's 2 years ago, I was one of the curators with these two ladies here, and it was, we curated, and it was a very great experience for me to curate the show, not just having my artwork. So that was great. Thank you for the opportunities. And so about my work, it's called alcohol ink art. It's a kind of a new material. It's ink, but based in alcohol ink, alcohol. And so you use alcohol to dilate, instead of water, and use special paper called Yupo paper. It's synthetic paper, so it doesn't absorb the ink into the paper, but because it's alcohol based, it evaporates quicker. So that's like something I kind of experiment about 5 years ago. I started using this, and I think it's getting very popular now. A lot of people using this. But anyway, so and these works I did all during the lockdown. And one on the top is called Infinity Bubbles. I felt like every day I was going to my studio and doing the same routine, but something different every day. So I kind of wanted to represent that. And the bottom one is also one of the series. And the rest are, two are called Surrender. I felt like I let everything go and surrender myself. And the left one, the pink one, is also called Let Go. So I feel like I just have to let stuff go. So I have no control. Anyway, so that's about my work. And thank you again so much for having me. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you.
We usually have very big crowds, but as I said, when I announced this show, it was very, very late. You received the announcement 3-4 days ago, and many artists have already committed some kind of appointment or March 5th, wonderful day to go out, enjoying themselves. But still, they are missing something, but those who are here to share the beautiful things and then talk to hear their stories, which means a lot. Don't you think so? I know it's such a long story, so I tend to talk too much, forgive me. But I hope you will bring your friends, because it's worth it. And take, for instance, the glass artist Renee Reidenberg. She's not here. And she's another remarkable glass artist. So we can see different mediums. Or we have ceramics, glass, printmakers, and this is very much Japanese watercolor, but she used different medium. That is alcohol. And don't you use Yupo paper? Yeah, Yupo. And another artist, which is an abstract expressionist, she is having a show somewhere. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Is that 8? So 3 people are missing.
Cornelia?
Yeah.
Cornelia?
Yeah.
Is that?
Yeah, that. Yes. Okay, so excuse me. Oh, now I remember you. Oh, yes. Cornelia Jensen. Cornelia Jensen used to be in New York City, but she moved away to Tucson, Arizona. So you can see she was totally different painter, but she now doing landscape. And landscape is very unusual too. Drawings, techniques. I miss her because we used to enjoy talking a lot. So I'm so glad. What's wrong with me? I think something is aging. Aging is creeping up. So I do need your help. So Cornelia Jensen, remarkable painter. And she's not a landscape painter. And she did a wonderful light show. That was remarkable. But she's enjoying Arizona, beautiful. You could come over here, she said. Well, I am so busy. You keep going. Yeah. Okay, so I don't want to bore you. Yeah. Would you like to say something? Okay. So, thank you so much, everybody. Okay. So now, we have a photographer, and we have to take photo, everybody. So we have a photographer from Pakistan. He is now in Pakistan, and then we have two video artists, and they cannot be naked.